All right, who guessed maple for this next installment of Speed Build Saturday in conjunction with Music Box Monday? Let me know if you had maple on your bingo card. I feel like besides Celeste, who we gave Celeste an observatory last week, I feel like maple was probably the second most requested villager to feature, and pretty much everyone said either a library or a bakery. And so I figured, hey, why not kind of do both? My first instinct was to do a library. I have been itching to use the library walls here that you see, but I also wanted to make it a little bit more unique, also because we can make the rooms so big. I didn't just want to feature a library, but kind of maximize as much of the space as I could. So my mind went to Barnes & Noble. In high school, I used to go to Barnes & Noble all the time. I would get myself a little coffee at their cafe. I would go and just check out different books. I haven't been to a Barnes & Noble in a few years at this point. I don't even know if they're still in business. I know Borders closed, right? I think they went out of business, but let me Google this. There's nothing quite like a good live Google when recording, right? Is Barnes & Noble going out of business? Oh, okay, no. Barnes & Noble is making a comeback. That's what Reader's Digest says. When was this published? It says Barnes & Noble is opening more stores than ever. Okay, and this was in May 2023. That is great. Okay, so congratulations to Barnes & Noble. I guess this is very timely that I am recording this. I don't know. Anyway, my inspiration is Barnes & Noble. No, I'm kidding. Actually, no, I'm not kidding at all. Because I wanted to do a hybrid of a cafe and a bookstore, or a library, I guess more so in this case, but a combination of the two, right? You come, you bring your books, you bring your homework, you can get yourself a coffee, a matcha, you can have a snack, some baked goods. There's some really nice jazz music or something maybe a little bit more alternative, easy listening playing in the background. But it's kind of a hybrid space, right? It's not quite a cyber cafe or an internet cafe. It's a bookstore. It's a library. I know those are different things, but just roll with it. And it's also a cafe. So I was kind of going back and forth on which wallpaper I liked in addition to the library wall. And I just kept coming back to it's quite literally called the cafe wall, because I think the deep like teal color, that dark greenish blue, looks so nice against the book wallpaper or the library wallpaper. It ended up being like way more brown than I thought, which is probably surprising no one. I feel like I always go towards those darker, very earthy type of neutrals in a lot of my builds, but I wasn't intending to, especially starting off. However, it ended up being that way, so sorry. But I had so much fun in this build. I'm still trying to decide who is going to join Miss Maple in this library cafe for Music Box Monday. I don't know which other villagers I'm gonna have kind of hanging out around the little library cafe, but I guess we'll find out. Also, if you are interested in the custom codes that I am using for this little staircase, balcony situation that's on the back wall, everything is pinned in my Pinterest, so you can find those original creators. Yeah, that is that on that. I will pop in for some commentary as per usual here and there, but if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I am doing Vlogmas this year. Every single day of December will be a different type of video. Most of them are going to be Animal Crossing. I am going to throw in a few wild cards here and there with different games, but the majority of them will be island tours, more speed builds, more Music Box Mondays. The Let's Play is making a comeback freaking finally, and I figured December would be a good time to do that with all of the holidays and chaos that happens on our islands around those times. So keep your eyes out for those. If you have any requests, I'm always all ears, so put those in the description box. I'd love to read them and take them to heart too. So thank you guys so much for being here. Enjoy the speed build. I will be back, I'm sure, in just a little bit. this is where I started to kind of go off the rails with, I don't know, this whole floor plan. I wanted to experiment with adding more columns throughout this build and make it feel a little bit cozier in what otherwise is such a big space. Like, this is the largest that you can make a room in Happy Home Paradise. So it is significantly larger than, of course, what a just like super cozy library and cafe would be. But I didn't want to use the partition walls because sometimes those block off so much space and they're kind of hard to navigate, especially when you want to capture different angles and corners of specific areas, like for, you know, the Music Box Mondays playlist, you know, where I want to show different pieces of the room itself. So I didn't want to do partition walls, so I ended up doing these double column situation things. It feels a little cold now. I ended up making it work, but yeah, I just kind of started to improvise here in what I wanted. And then in terms of the cafe tables, it took me a minute to figure out what kind of aesthetic that I wanted, because I knew I wanted something to look different than the bar stools that are sitting at the actual cafe counter. I wanted something different from the couches as well, but I still wanted it all to feel harmonious and also match in its own unique way. So ended up playing a little bit with these Moroccan tables. There are several different colorways that are beautiful. I was so interested in doing the green ones. I also love the black ones, and you can see here I kind of go back and forth with them for quite some time. But all's well that ends well. This is just where I was very much experimenting with mixing and matching different pieces of furniture, different colors, playing with the different columns and the way to arrange those, but I think it ended up working out quite nicely. I don't know, you'll see here in a second, I kind of steer away from these green tables and I end up going with the black ones. But watching it back, maybe I should have kept the green. I don't know, it's kind of a nice pop of color. Complements the plants that are in the hanging shelves. I'm not sure. Well, now I'm questioning myself, but I ended up not going with the green, so a little spoiler alert there. it is my favorite time, which is clutter time, where I just take all of the clutter in the world and place it, you know, the miscellaneous items, and just kind of throw them everywhere. Obviously, I needed some coffee cups, and I originally wanted to try mismatched coffee cups, and I ended up doing like a couple, but not the whole entire lineup. So I wanted some tables, of course, to have coffee. I wanted some to have some snacks, and then obviously I wanted some places for books, for homework, for laptops, which those little solo desks, those little kind of cubby private desk situations, I can't remember what the actual item name is called, but I thought that was kind of fun to put in here. Again, it gives me more of like an internet cafe kind of feeling, but just having two of them as opposed to like a whole row of them, I thought still worked quite nicely in this kind of take. And yeah, all in all, I really liked how a lot of this started looking at this point. Really happy with the way that the shelves lined up so perfectly with two of the columns. Like, it's the exact same width. It kind of breaks up that, I don't know, just how plain it was looking for a second. And it worked out really quite nicely. I said this in a previous island tour, or actually, no, maybe it's an island tour coming up. Anyway, I don't know if I've published the video yet, but I did mention how I really wish we could hang items on partition walls. And also, I want to mention that I wish we could also hang items on the columns. Like, that would be so neat to be able to hang those smaller wall hanging decor items on the columns, on the partition walls. That would be so cool and such an easy way to add, I don't know, just even more decor ability into our Animal Crossing homes. But, you know, I guess they didn't think of that, and so we're left without that. But placing shelves in these taller items, like the shelves, against those partition walls, against the columns, it kind of helps combat that issue. Doesn't perfectly rectify the situation, but you know what? We just gotta make do with what we've got. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm just grabbing literally every kind of book or magazine that I possibly can, and I'm just kind of throwing them everywhere. And I want them all to look at least a little bit different. But yeah, no, just scattering all the clutter miscellaneous items is definitely my favorite part of decorating. Beyond just picking the color palette, that's always fun too, starting with like just the base guidelines of the build. That's also so fun, but adding just all the little items everywhere, it really brings the scene to life, I think. here we are at Miss Maple's Library Cafe, Barnes and Noble. What if I just named it Barnes and Noble? Honestly, it did end up just exactly the way that I wanted. I'm excited to grab a couple other amiibo cards and have several characters instead of just 2 or 3. Maybe I'll even put 4 villagers that I think would be fun in this kind of environment into this build. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, please make sure to let me know what your suggestions are. I've seen some really great ones in the comments in the past, and I'm keeping a list going. So please give me your suggestions. I am writing down ones that really catch my eye. I hope y'all are having an amazing day wherever you are in this big ol' beautiful world. Thank you so much for hanging out with me throughout this speed build, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.